I'm done with that. Second story of the day is about a Dave Rubin interview I watched. I was playing video games. If you guys care, I play Rocket League sometimes. I'm the best. I'm not really the best. I'm terrible, but I have fun. I need to cool down from all these politics, have fun sometimes. And I listen to podcasts, and I listen to who I think is somewhat intelligent while I'm doing it, because I like to double task and learn. Today I was listening to the Rubin Report. I love the Rubin Report. I actually met Dave Rubin thanks to my friend Jared. He had an extra ticket. I talked to Dave. I emailed him. He didn't email me back. It's okay. I'm not salty. I'm just saying that happened. I keep it too real here. But I'm watching the Rubin Report today, and he's got this guy on. His name is Dr. Everett Piper. He's the president of Oklahoma Wesleyan University, and the whole episode... Sorry, I chugged all that water. I'm going to have a conniption here. No, I'm just kidding. But the whole episode was about how college campuses are going too far left, and they don't like having intelligent discussion, and how they're censoring out opinions because of feelings. And I'm like, to be honest, the guy was he was okay. And no offense to Dr. Everett Piper. It was cool. I was like, yeah, for sure, this is dope. But then the craziest thing happened, and the dude, just totally... It was such a huge hypocrisy that I couldn't not point it out real quick today, and I'm going to make a video about it, because it's not about left and right to me. If you're, part of the problem, I can't ignore it. So he starts talking about Ben Shapiro on college campuses. This is Dr. Everett Piper to Dave.
You see it in the Snowflake Rebellion. This is education, where they're going to protest Ben Shapiro at Berkeley. Yeah. And Berkeley's supposed to be the birthplace of this free speech movement. But
you're basically protesting a guy who says the same things that Ronald Reagan said, that were mainstream conservative ideas.
You're protesting a conservative Jew and calling him a Nazi? This is an upside-down claim that makes no sense. And anybody with half a brain can figure that out. But yet Berkeley silences Ben Shapiro and others because of what? They don't like his ideas. That's not the birthplace of free speech. That's ideological fascism. That is not academic freedom.
And he's saying it's so bad how liberals won't let Ben Shapiro speak. They call him a Nazi. They don't invite him to the campuses. It's blasphemy that Berkeley won't let him on. They say that they're the free speech capital, but they won't let Ben Shapiro. And I agree. It's like, yeah, let Ben Shapiro speak. You know what I'm saying? If they book him, what's the big deal? Ben Shapiro's not that scary. I mean, he's probably one of the least threatening people I know. No offense to Ben. Congrats to Ben, but it's like he's not that bad. He's not bad at all, really. Anyway, then 5 minutes later...
Trust truth to win. The irony here, I had somebody when Milo hit his snafu a couple of years ago. Somebody called me up and said, are you going to have Milo at your campus? Because he had been dismissed from Berkeley or wherever it was. And I said no, because I don't agree with Milo on so much that I don't want to lead anybody to conclude that somehow I'm elevating his ideas to some level of acceptability within our culture. Mm-hmm. I said, however...
Wait, let me pause there. So if a student...
And this guy was like, oh, no, I would not, no, I wouldn't let Milo speak on my campus. And then Dave kind of knew that. He was just full of crap, no offense. But Dave was like, what? Didn't you just talk about for 5 minutes, about how it's bad that people aren't letting...
And anybody with half a brain can figure that out. But yet Berkeley silences Ben Shapiro and others because of what? They don't like his ideas. That's not the birthplace of free speech. That's ideological fascism. That is not academic freedom. Somebody called me up and said, are you going to have Milo at your campus? Because he had been dismissed from Berkeley or wherever it was. And I said no, because I don't agree with Milo on so much that I don't want to lead anybody to conclude that somehow I'm elevating his ideas to some level of acceptability within our culture. Mm-hmm. I said, however...
Wait, let me pause there. So if a student...
He's like, well, and this guy, he's like a Christian conservative, the president of Oklahoma Wesleyan University. He's like, well, that's different with Milo because I really don't agree with his views, so I wouldn't let him speak. And I was like, bro, that's the same argument that liberals and progressive communists make to cut off Ben Shapiro at universities. They think he's racist, sexist, xenophobic, and so terrible, so they won't let him speak. But if Ben is really racist, sexist, and xenophobic, why don't you just beat him with a valid argument? They can't beat Ben with a valid argument because it's not even that Ben, I'm not saying that Ben can be destroyed or anything, but it's not that Ben can't be intellectually challenged. It's just the left lost all capability of knowing how to discuss anymore, so they lose every time. But with this guy, how can you go from talking for minutes about how Ben Shapiro needs to be allowed to speak, but then admitting that you would not allow Milo on your college campus to speak. Like, Milo's so bad. He got a lot of bad press. He said some mean things, but Milo's not that bad, to be honest. I know that's controversial now, but I don't like when conservatives do exactly what liberals do. And then Dave Rubin even posed the question. He said, so, because the guy tried to say, no, I wouldn't have him be a keynote speaker for graduation, but maybe I'd let him speak in another way. So then Dave said, so would you let Milo speak at your college if it was like a debate thing where you could challenge his ideas? And he was like, maybe. So he admitted that he literally wouldn't let Milo speak on his college campus. I just wanted to say this. And
If a student group on campus had invited him, would you have allowed that to proceed? Because that's a little bit different than someone asking you, will you have him?
If a student or a student group wanted to discuss his ideas, let's go at it. Those ideas can be discussed robustly, and you'll engage with our faculty and the rest of the community in vetting those ideas. Who's right, who's wrong. There are some times when, here's an example. Let's get off Milo for a second for me to answer this question. I had another gentleman who's very well known and very popular across the nation who wanted to speak at my commencement, but he's of a different religion. Now, had he accepted my invitation, which I issued, to be part of a day of co-belligerence, Francis Schaeffer, where he and an evangelical, a Catholic, a conservative Jew would have come to the table to have a discussion in front of the students in terms of how to be co-belligerent for a common good of common sense and common morality. Pick a topic, the preservation of the sanctity of human life. That would have been a great thing. But putting somebody that disagrees so much with the core tenets of my institution at my pulpit, at my podium, on the key event of the year, commencement, is something that I guard because it sends a signal to everybody. So I didn't. I didn't invite him to the commencement. I invited him to a day of co-belligerence. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So
I'll defend your right as a private institution to do what you think is best.
But let's get back to Milo. Would I put Milo at the podium, at the pulpit? I think I have to guard the message of what we stand for missionally.
Right.
But would I put him in a different venue where there would be debate and disagreement and a good exchange? That's a different question, if that answers you.
And I suspect the answer is yes to that question.
Yes.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to make a decision. There are some people I'm not going to because they're so far outside the pale. I'm not going to put a white supremacist on my podium because I think it's offensive to, I mean, we were birthed out of the civil rights movement. We were actually birthed, the Wesleyan Church was an abolitionist church. We took a stand against slavery. So our history, our mission is human equality. And we stood in the face of the Civil War and said, no, we will not do this. And it's out of that, we birthed ourselves out of the Episcopal Methodist Church and became the Wesleyan Church because Orange, Scott, and Luther Lee believed that it was wrong to call a human being less than a human being. The definition, the imago Dei of what it meant to be human was something that they would not forfeit, and they held on tenaciously to that definition, thus the Wesleyan Church. So am I going to put somebody at my podium that refutes all of that? That's a judgment call that I have.
Yeah.
So.
Right. Interesting.
I'm gonna post this on YouTube, and I'm gonna chop up the clips. The reason I'm saying this is because if you're gonna go on the Rubin Report and talk for an hour about how college campuses are intolerant to intellectual discussion, but then you admit that you would on your own campus block Milo from speaking because you don't agree with him, and you think he's so damaging and terrible that it's like you can't even have him discuss or debate. What's the point of even being conservative or a Christian woke? Like, it's just so goofy to me. And this is not a knock at Dave. I just met him. I'm not trying to be salty or anything, but I would have done this anyway. It's like you host a guy who acts like he's standing up for free speech on college campuses, rants about how liberals won't allow speakers on college campuses, and then himself admits that he won't have Milo on his own college campus because Milo's too controversial. This is exactly what I don't like about mainstream conservatives. This is probably why I've never been on Fox or anything. No one invites me anywhere. It's okay. I mean, I'm speaking somewhere this week. I'm not trying to be mean, but like, I've never had a TV appearance. That's fine. I'm not crying about it. I don't care. But maybe it's because I don't like the way most conservatives act. I find it very goofy and hypocritical and foolish. Like, all conservatives say we love free speech. You know, we stand up for free speech because that's what it's about. I don't care if you're Louis Farrakhan. I don't care if you're Julian Assange. I don't care if you're Milo. I don't care if you're Ben Shapiro. I want to hear what you have to say, and then, you know, we'll counter it from there. I don't want to kick anyone off the platforms, but conservatives, they always throw their own under the bus. And Cernovich made a good point on Twitter. I know a lot of people don't like him too, but I do. He said that liberals win all the time because they protect their own. No matter what happens, they lie and protect their own. But conservatives, not only do they not protect their own good people, but they throw their own people under the bus all the time. Like, there's nothing wrong with Milo. There's nothing wrong with Alex Jones. There's nothing wrong with Owen Benjamin. There's nothing wrong with a lot of these conservatives, but it's like it becomes the trendy thing for conservatives to do. They're like, oh, I will disavow Alex Jones. I will disavow Milo. I won't let him speak on the college campus. That's fine. Then just admit you're a snowflake and you don't really like free speech. You only like free speech when it's like a neocon conservative who wants to start a bunch of wars in the Middle East, or you only like conservatives who talk about the GDP. It's like, that's cool. Like, there's 10,000 conservatives who can go on Fox and say, Trump is so good because the economy's up, the jobs are down, and he's good with the Hispanic minority. It's like, anyone could say that. It doesn't take an intellectual, like, superstar to repeat conservative talking points. Yeah, we get it. Low taxes, individual freedom, but if you don't stand up for the Alex Joneses and the Milos and the Owen Benjamins and stuff, I don't know. I just find it very phony. And I want to say this too before and then we're going to go to the question and answer.